to the Bright Show. I'm your host, Kapitol HP. If it's your first time tuning in, just give me a brief rundown on the Bright Show. We are a very diverse show. We bring different people on from different walks of life, let people tell their stories and all that. Recent changes. We just teamed up with Street Status. Shout out to O. So today we got a very special guest. I want you to introduce yourself.
My name's Morgan Teague.
Morgan T. Okay, bankruptcy attorney and other things. You got a lot of
Yes.
hats.
Yes. A bankruptcy attorney, real estate broker, real estate investor, and a travel advisor.
That's a lot of hats. Okay, so let's talk about the bankruptcy. Tell us about that. What made you get into it? And
Yeah, so bankruptcy, honestly didn't it wasn't something I wanted to start out doing. It was a job I found when I was passing the bar. I started working at a law firm and really liked it. It was a very, if you do these steps, you get this outcome versus a lot of law. It's kind of like, we'll see what happens when we go to trial, things like that. Bankruptcy is not like that. You truly are eligible or you're not. So I liked being able to guarantee, the result essentially for my clients.
mm.
And so I worked at a law firm for 5 years and then decided to start my own. And I just celebrated 10 years of the
Oh,
law
10?
firm. Yep, 10 years being on my
Congratulations.
own with the bankruptcy firm. So,
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. Okay. Now I filed bankruptcy with you before some years ago.
Hmm.
So like I said to you off camera, last time we met, I was in your office. Now you're in my
Yeah,
office. So
yeah.
that mean I made some good decisions. So what are some of the benefits with bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't want to file bankruptcy; it's going to mess up your credit." Most of the time, if you need bankruptcy, your credit's already messed up. Either you've
Right.
maxed out credit cards, you have late payments, you have repossessions. One common thing a lot of people don't know about is if you got in a car accident with no insurance and you got your license suspended because you didn't pay the judgment, you file bankruptcy, you can actually wipe that out and get your license back.
Oh
A
wow.
lot of people don't know that. Repossessions, foreclosures, those are things that if you do a Chapter 13 can be stopped and put you in a repayment plan. So it's not, if, I think a lot of older people look negative on it, but it truly is a resource. It's not a negative thing if you are eligible. And it doesn't make sense for everybody, but
Right.
we offer a free consultation for that reason. I will flat out say it doesn't make sense for you or it does, and here's why in your case. So I think a
Mm.
lot of people try to generalize, well, this person didn't file or they did file because of this. Unless you have the same income, same household size, same debt, it's not necessarily the same answer for you.
So what is the difference? That's crazy. I didn't know about the car accident thing.
Hmm.
About the driver's license.
Yeah.
That's a major benefit. So what is the difference between a 13 and a 7?
Yeah. So
Chapter
Chapter
7.
7 wipes everything out. But
Okay.
because it wipes everything out, there's income limits and there's asset limits. So not
Mm,
everybody's eligible for it. Chapter 13 is if you're not eligible for a 7
mm.
or if you're behind on a car or house and you want to keep it, and it creates a payment plan for those
Hold
things.
on.
Yeah.
Would it
Or
be?
taxes, back child support. There's certain things that don't go away in bankruptcy, but you can put them in a no interest repayment plan over 5 years in a Chapter 13.
Damn, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that when I filed.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about financial literacy, and I want to talk about that because it's in your field and just being a person of myself. Like I've been on my own since I was 16,
Hmm.
so I made a lot of bad financial, decisions.
Hmm.
Should financial literacy be taught to people in school at an early age?
Definitely should be taught. And I think that the problem is it shifted what needs to be taught. There
Okay.
was certain classes we were able to take where it would teach you how to balance your checkbook or things like that. We don't need that anymore.
No, we
They
don't.
need teaching about online banking, teaching about Cash App, teaching about, building your credit. I have clients that come in that are 40, 50 years old, and I ask for their tax return and they
Mm.
send me their W 2. They don't know the difference. They don't
Wow.
know how to read their pay stub. I'm like, what's this garnishment coming out? They're like, I didn't know I had one. They just see the direct deposit amount and don't look. Employers make mistakes. People aren't
Right.
looking at their paycheck. I mean, you have to look at every paycheck and did they make an error? Are you overpaying things? And a lot of people just don't know how to read those things. I mean, they should
Mm.
teach them how to do online banking, read a pay stub, all of that.
Why do you think they don't teach it or recommend it?
I can't think of a good reason why they wouldn't.
Mm.
I mean, honestly, I remember when I was in high school, it wasn't a class you had to take, but it was a class you could sign up, an entrepreneurship class, and they taught us how to balance a checkbook. I don't even know if they offer that class anymore, but I don't see any negative side to teaching it. I
Teaching
think
it
it's
right.
it's just one of those things where the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It's like if you aren't learning it on your own,
Then you just
then it's just that's how it starts off and that's how you get behind.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just a lack of knowledge.
Mm.
It's not hard.
So, do you think that people like yourself, is that something that you could offer? Like, I know you got the bankruptcy thing.
Hmm.
Is that something you would like to add to your
Yeah, so
like a financial literacy course?
yeah, so I do a little bit of it through while they're filing bankruptcy. I kind of walk through that process with them. If they do, we go through their pay stubs, their W-2s, their tax returns, and then after they file, I'm working on publishing a bankruptcy to homeownership workbook that'll
Okay.
basically, because it's 2 years from when you file bankruptcy to when you can buy a house. So
Oh
the
yeah.
workbook will essentially fill that gap between those 2 years on how to do a budget, what to look for in a house, about taxes and insurance when you buy a house. Because if you look on like Zillow, for example, and you say, oh, I can afford a $200,000 house. No, that payment that they're showing you is only the principal and interest. It doesn't include taxes. It doesn't include insurance, all those things. So it's just a explanations of all those things. What is the escrow account? All the things that just aren't taught to you. Even when you go to buy a house, the lender is going to tell you you're eligible. They're not going to explain those things to you. You're going to get to the closing table and it's going to say, here's your monthly payment. And it's going to be higher than what Zillow told you, and not understanding why and how, So, yeah, so that workbook is intended to be for that purpose, for bankruptcy to homeownership, but truly it could be from non-homeowner to homeowner to homeowner. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone that filed bankruptcy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this next question I want to ask you, and we kind of spoke about this off camera in reference to the financial literacy
Hmm.
and bankruptcy mindsets.
Hmm.
So, um, what about like how do you tell people about is how important it is to have the right mindset? Because like, you can file bankruptcy and get cleared, but if your habits and your mindset haven't changed,
Hmm.
you can fall right back. You know what I mean?
And file again. I've had clients, because I've been doing this for 15 years. You can
Hmm.
file every 8 years. I've had people that I've filed more than one bankruptcy for,
Yeah.
and they're on the track to. They'll call and say, when is it gonna be 8 years again? I mean,
So
truly, and it's not to say there aren't things that happen where that would cause that. There's
right.
job loss, there's medical things, you've lost a spouse. There's certain things that you can't avoid,
Mhm.
but a lot of it is you need to truly be in the mindset first before
Right.
you file. Because the second,
Right.
if you file bankruptcy and then you make a late car payment that next month, it's now going to continue doing. They want to see a fresh start. Bankruptcy is like a fresh start.
Mhm.
And then what have you done positive after that? So you need to be ready to do right before you clean your slate.
Okay. So you gotta already kind of like know that hey, I'm gonna do this different. I'm gonna create these saving tips and stuff
Hmm.
like that. You gotta
Yeah.
already be on that before you file.
Yeah, it's
Is
like
basically
it's
what you're
like a
saying.
judge letting you off on one charge and you can go do another thing the next day. Like, he let you off for all these things, but you got to do
Right.
it right after, or it's still going to happen again, and they're not going to let you off again. Although technically bankruptcy they will, but you got to wait 8 years.
Right.
So you truly have to be ready to make the right decisions afterwards. And a lot of what I see a lot of times is car loans.
Yeah.
The
Car
younger people that
loans.
come in and need to file, they went and got a car loan because it's easy to get one. They can't
Mhm.
afford the car payment and the insurance. Then they start
Right.
getting tickets. Now they're in warrant. Now they have no license. So they end up filing to wipe everything out. And then hopefully mom didn't co-sign, because now mom's pissed because it's on her
It's
credit.
on her now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it's a system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can't control where we started.
That's
We
true.
can't control what we were handed. But especially now, there's so much information out there. I feel like it's no longer an excuse of where you're staying.
Right.
You had your story, but it doesn't have to be your future. And you literally can go on YouTube, you can go on Instagram, and you can find out anything. Now, you have
That's
to
true.
weed through the people that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's so much information out there that I think that people can, in general, I mean, there's always exceptions to it, but people can get up to a level playing field within reason.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of information. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely is. Now this is kind of on the lines of mindset. We're gonna talk about saving tips.
Mm-hmm.
Like with me, that was the first thing I did. Like after I filed that last bankruptcy, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do differently? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I did was I stopped shopping so much. I started to meal prep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I stopped wanting to be seen in different outfits because who the hell cares? You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So what saving tips do you have for people who once they get out of the bankruptcy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas or saving
The
tips?
first thing is budget. You'd be
Budget.
surprised. So when you're filling out the bankruptcy paperwork, you have to list all your monthly expenses.
Okay.
People have no clue what they're actually spending. I have them do
Right.
it, and then we look at their bank statement and see what they're actually spending. They don't match. Most of the time, sometimes their rent amount doesn't even match. Like, no, that was your base rent, but then they're adding this and this and this. And what about your water bill? And what about your this? And when you ask them their expenses, they list rent, gas, electric, and their car payment. What about all those other things that happen that you're not accounting for when you're saying, oh, those bills are paid, now I have money left? Well, what about gas for your car? What about groceries, which we know are crazy high right now? Like, there's all these other things that it sounds basic, but truly sitting down and writing down your budget and then looking and actually seeing like DoorDash, Uber, like all these things that people don't account for that add up.
It adds up. Yeah.
And then it's easier to see, okay, where can I cut down and say, okay, you know what? I'm only going to spend $50 out this week. So that means, okay, well, if you want to go get $10 breakfast in the morning, then that means you got to cook at home tonight. You know, there's things like that. It's really just, it's nothing complicated. It's nothing anybody can't do. It's just doing it, doing the work.
Facts. And that's what I told myself. It ain't about what I got to start doing. It's about what I got to stop doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
And
I'm saying?
knowing what you're doing. If you don't know what
Right.
you're doing, how can you fix it?
That's true.
And if you don't know what you're spending on DoorDash, then how can you cut back on it? You won't even know if you
Right.
cut back on it because you don't know what that amount is.
Right, right. And we just go out, we just be swiping our card, doing little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I even did that with my job because they got it to where we can use our badge.
Oh yeah,
You know
I
what?
see it. It says BJC Cafe on people's pesos. I'm like, what's this?
Yeah.
$200.
Man, I was like, I could have been doing this
A
in
soda and a
groceries.
chips. Yeah, soda and chips to $200.
I was real mad at myself about that. For real, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm already like, I'm working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm giving them the money back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely saving tips. Definitely.
Yeah.
So you're saying that just budget, but what about the S happens, the SHIT happens?
So that budget needs to include at the end of the day, even if it's a
emergency.
minimum, $50 a paycheck, $25. What I did was I have it automatically
Mhm.
the day I get paid, or I pay the day I pay myself, but the day somebody gets paid, an automatic transfer to a savings account. The savings account needs to be at a different bank that you, when you log in to see how much is in your checking account, you don't even see that savings account
Oh,
because it's at a different bank. Because out of sight, out of mind.
Dang.
So now if it's $25, it's $50, whatever it is, it's going to a separate bank that you do not get a debit card for. And you would have to physically go into that bank to take money out of the savings account. It makes you think twice, is it worth it to do it? Versus if all you got to do is transfer on your phone this account to that account, it's too easy.
I ain't. You just put me on to something.
Yeah, separate
'Cause it's
bank
so
and no debit
convenient,
card.
like to
Mhm.
just go to your savings and transfer. Oh yeah, dang.
So
So
auto transfer to an account at a
Okay.
different bank with no debit card. And it doesn't have, everyone's like, oh, I don't have enough to save. Start with $20. Start with $10. Start with something because you'll get in the habit and then you can increase it.
you can increase it.
Yeah.
And you dropping a lot of jewels when it come to financial literacy stuff like that. Even with I didn't even think about that to get another bank.
Mhm.
It's like you can do that,
Yeah. And you
Okay.
should because you won't see it.
right?
You won't see it.
That
And
makes
then it's
sense.
just little things like, they always joke on Instagram. It's like Apple Pay is or Apple's gonna find a way to get their $9.99. You don't know what day and what time it's gonna come, but it's gonna come out. All those little things, like, do you need Netflix? Do you need this? Do you need that? All those little $10 things you have, they all add up.
Yeah, I need Netflix, but yeah, I see what you're
Oh no,
saying.
I need Netflix.
Yeah, I know. I
But
see
there's
what
certain
you're saying.
things you may not need that you may have signed up for something that you forgot
Mhm.
about and you don't even use, and it's still coming out of your account. Just knowing where your money is going, there will be things you can cut back on.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about like generational wealth, creating generational wealth? How important is that?
Very
to you?
important to everybody.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people say, oh, well, I wasn't handed this, or I didn't get money from my parents, so how
Mhm.
do I have it to pass down? Again, I think it's one of those things. We can't control what we were given. I didn't get a trust fund. I didn't get anything, and I'm
Right.
figuring it out. So one of the easy things I think people can do is everybody talks about the whole life insurance policies, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
You can go get a term life policy. You can get a 30-year policy. My kids are 10 and 12. So if I have a policy that's good for 30 years,
Mhm.
if something happens to them, I mean, hopefully in 30 years, they'll be able to hold their own.
You mean something happened to you?
Yeah, if something happens to me
Okay.
within the next 30 years, they're going to get this money. So I set up to where I have rental properties. I have enough life insurance policies, just term policies, so they're not expensive, that'll pay off the rental properties. So now all those properties will be handed down to the kids paid off.
So, what is a just term policy?
Term policy is just for a set amount of, so you can get a 10-year, a 20-year, a 30-year. If something was to happen to me in 30 years, they'll get paid out. Now, if I last to 31 years, that policy is no longer there.
So, what happened to all the money you paid towards it?
Nothing. It's lost. But it's a lot less expensive. So whole life policies are prohibitive. A lot of people getting them because they're expensive. They're $300, $400, $500 a month. You can get a term policy for $35 a month. If it's 30 years, I'm willing to risk $35 a year or a month so that they can get, 500 or 250,000 if something happens to me within that time.
So is it a way you can renew it?
No,
Like if you
most
make
of them you can't, but you can get another one. So I have mine kind of stacked. Every 5 years, I've gotten another. I keep that one,
okay.
but now I have another 30-year that pushes out another 5 years.
Oh,
So you
so
can
you
keep
lay
getting
you
30
add
years.
layers.
Yeah. And I keep adding them because every time I get more properties, I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that there's enough policies to pay off all the debt
Oh,
I have on the rental properties. Because what
mm-hmm.
happens is people will be in real estate and they'll pull money out.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens to them. The properties are passed down to their family, but so is the debt. And if you can't afford to pay the mortgages, then that's how
That's how you lose it.
that's how you lose them.
Probate and
So I
stuff.
always wanted it to be passed down to them free and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can sell them or rent them
Do
or
what they
do
want.
whatever, but they're not going to be lost because they couldn't afford the debt.
So where does a power of attorney like falls in with that?
So a power of attorney is only good while you're alive. The second that you pass, a power of attorney does nothing. And that's why a lot of people think, oh, that handled my mom is my power of attorney. That's great. And she can handle things for you if you're in the hospital
Oh yeah.
or if you're in a coma, things like that. But if you actually pass, a power of attorney means nothing.
I didn't know that. I
Now
thought
you
they
need
was
a
the one.
trust, you need a will, some sort of combination of them.
Damn, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
thought I thought they just was like. So what about like if you got a spouse or something?
So same thing. The power of attorney is only good as long as you're living.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why like a lot of people end up in probate because
Yeah.
there's a will. Everybody thinks that a will skips probate. No, a will tells the court what you want to happen with the property. It
Okay.
doesn't make it happen. So there's
Mm.
things like beneficiary deeds. You can do a paid upon death and a transfer upon death on your property so that they do transfer automatically to that person, but the will doesn't do that. The will literally just says, "Hey court, here's what she wanted to happen with her stuff," and the court decides and still has to go through that process. But probate court also costs money. So some people don't even have the money. Their family doesn't have the money to even do that.
Mm.
So there's things you can do to have the property go where you want.
Okay.
The best way is to have a trust. So I have a trust. All of my properties are in
Mm.
different LLCs. Each LLC is owned by my trust. So if something was to happen to me, the
Mm-hmm.
owner of that property basically is the trust, and it flows through the trust that details exactly what I want to happen to the properties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the owner while I'm alive. When something happens to me, the beneficiaries are my kids, and then they don't have to go to court. It just all exact flows how you want it to flow.
It seemed like a lot of work though. So like,
It's work to set it up, but it's also worth it
okay,
because yeah, I had to sit down and talk to an attorney to get the trust
get all
paperwork
that
drawn
done.
out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know if something happens to me, my kids are straight.
Your business is in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I don't be liking to talk about death though, but that all plays a part in financial literacy. Like I didn't know that. Like I
My
thought a
both
trust.
of my parents, I've lost both of my parents. So I've been
Mhm.
through all of it. And you have to make sure that you're not
You make
leaving
sure your
them with
business.
a burden.
Yeah.
They're already going to have grief, now they have burden too.
Burdens. Right. Dang, that's crazy. Cause I've seen that happen. I've seen like some aunts of mine on daycares and stuff, and they pass away, and then like within months,
Mhm.
business is gone. It's like with that.
Yeah.
So you gotta have your business. So basically, what I'm getting from you, the more you level up, the more you should have your business in order.
Mhm.
You know.
But if you take the time to learn those things, I mean literally a lot of this stuff I may have seen on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and then
Mhm.
I dig deeper into it to figure out,
Right.
okay, what pieces of this are true, what pieces of this apply to me, and then you implement it. If you do it right from the beginning,
Mhm.
I wouldn't buy a house in my personal name. And I didn't know a lot of this stuff. I didn't start off that way. Most of the properties that I had were in
Mhm.
my personal name. And then as soon as I realized they weren't supposed to be, okay, I got the trust. I went and opened all the LLCs, which you can do online yourself. It's very easy to do.
Oh, you can do it yourself.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
do it through the Secretary of State. I mean, people charge hundreds of dollars. It's so
Yeah.
simple. You literally can do it yourself. And you can go get an EIN number yourself.
Mm.
And then all I had to do was a quitclaim deed, which sounds complicated. It's a 1.5 page form that says I'm transferring it from my personal name to my LLC and it gets filed.
You know that makes sense because I heard like rich people they don't put nothing in their names. I ain't understand that
They
at
say you
first.
should own nothing and you should control everything.
Everything. Yep. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
trust, I still control the trust. At any time I can change what's in it until the moment I pass.
Mm.
But I'm not the owner. I control it, I don't own it.
So it's better to control, not own.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
because
you
if you
technically,
own it, guess what? You pay taxes on it. If somebody sues you, they can go after it. So you don't want to actually own any of
I don't know. We should put this on camera. I
it.
just, for real, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I got away from something I meant to ask you. Um, Payday loans.
Mm.
Is like when do you suggest somebody take out a payday loan? Because I'm
First answer,
totally
never.
never. All right.
Never. The interest rates are insane.
Mhm.
Now, realistically speaking, shit happens, right?
Right.
So the only way, and again, I would try to sell something first. I would try to borrow from a family member. I would do all those things first because what people don't realize and what you don't realize in the moment, it's on
Yeah.
the paperwork, but you're not worried about it because you need the
You
five
need the
hundred
money.
dollars real
Yeah.
quick. It's 100% interest. If you make the payments they're letting you pay, sure, I can pay $100 a week. Okay, that's cool. Well, if you didn't have the money to get the tires, how are you going to have the money to pay them back?
Right.
Unless you're expecting like a lump sum and you just need to fill the gap. Okay, but even still, it's the last resort because you may have to pay $500 or $100 a week, but at the end, you're probably going to pay them $1,000 or
Yeah.
$1,500 for that $500.
That's crazy. And you know what I noticed? Most of the payday loans are like in the most poverty and
It's not on
hoods.
accident. It's not on
Man, that's
accident. Just like
wrong,
there's
man.
not the grocery stores, and just
Right.
like they're trying to make it to where they're limiting the food you can buy on the food stamp card, but then you don't provide the grocery store in the neighborhood for them to get that stuff. None
That's
of it's on
crazy.
accident. It's
Mm.
just what can we do, and obviously you can get into the politics and you can do those things to change that.
Right.
Some people will do that and some people won't.
Some people won't.
But
Yeah.
it's just trying to first realize what's happening and
Mhm.
then and do the best to make sure they don't get to choose your end result.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Them payday loans, boy.
Yeah, the payday loans are the devil.
Yeah, they are. They
They
are.
it's never I mean I have so many people come in and then there's one that it's three all in a row. There's
Yeah.
three businesses all in a
You
row.
ain't gotta say the names.
No,
I
I
know who
won't
you
say
are.
the names.
Boy, they
But
got
people
me.
come in and they say I have this one. I'm like, "Oh, that means you have this one and this one too, right?" And they're like, "Yep, how did you know?" I'm like, "Because that's what they do."
I
And
got.
then let me guess, you agreed to have some of it come out of your paycheck
Yep.
voluntarily. It's not a garnishment, which they have you think. You voluntarily chose to give that
Yeah.
money. It's not a garnishment. You can take away the right at any time.
Boy, I put their ass in the bankruptcy like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
real. Like,
we got some
nope.
frequent flyer creditors, and that's
Yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't wait to put them in my bankruptcy.
yeah,
I'm like, woo. I went to my computer at work. I took them off the payroll thing.
yeah,
Bankruptcy.
yep,
They sent me letters. I ain't even read them.
yep.
Yeah, but yeah, that's crazy. I've been meaning to ask you about that. So payday loans, you saying zero? No.
Zero. And again, if you absolutely have to, think through if I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I can't pay the bill now, how am I going to pay the bills I needed the money for plus them? You're
Right.
adding a bill.
Dang.
Unless, like, I've had some people who are like, oh, I'm getting a big tax refund or I'm getting this. But then it's all still, the IRS does what they want to do.
Oh,
So
facts.
it's like, oh, I've been waiting on my refund. I have tenants to tell it. I'm waiting on my refund, waiting on my refund. Well, it might be months. And so then how much are you really going to owe the payday loan place?
Facts.
So
'Cause IRS, yeah, they real tricky.
it's easier said than done to not do it. But I mean, it should be the very last resort.
Yeah, I suggest don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Learn from me.
And same thing with the title loans.
Oh,
Because the
yeah.
only
Oh,
difference
they
is
worse.
what's a title loan? A payday loan attached to your car.
Yep.
And now they have your title.
They control your destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, I forgot all about them
Yeah.
title loans. Yeah. So kind of moving to a different subject, but
Mm-hmm.
we on the same. Like given everything you do, the hats you got. Let's talk about women empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you feel about you know with men being raised to think a certain way, to feel like the man should be the breadwinner,
Mm-hmm.
and now you got women like yourself and so many other women who are getting involved in so many things. How do you think that does that help society or does it hurt it? Because some men be ego driven. So if you meet, what I'm saying, you meet
A
a
man's
woman.
ego is not my problem.
That's true.
Start there.
That's true. It's
I
not
do
your
think
problem.
there's negatives and positives to it
Okay.
because I think that people come in and they want a traditional relationship
Right.
with a modern setup. You want me to be this and that, but you want to go 50-50 on the bills.
What you mean by they want you to be this and
Just like if you think of a traditional household, right? Like how probably our grandparents were. My grandma did this and she did that, but she also didn't have to go to work. That was her job.
that? Right.
So I think there has to be some grace on both sides of I personally, I want to do those traditional things, but also I still have a career and I have other things too. And there has to
Right.
be grace on both sides of I may not operate in the way that you saw a relationship going, but you may not operate that way either.
Right.
So I think that there's good and bad to it. It just is what it is. I think that women have gotten to the point now where they don't want to be in a situation if a relationship doesn't work out, if things don't
Right.
work out. And so they get so focused on that I think there are things that lack. I think there is a lack of the traditional relationships that I think most people deep down probably want because it is
Mhm.
a battle. And I think it has to be an open communication and two people that are on the same mindset.
That's it.
Yeah. But I mean, I can see both sides of it. I don't think it's obviously women should be able to do the things they want to do,
Yeah.
but it definitely affects, I think, the house.
It does, and just from my experience and some guys I work with, like I know some guys who wives like this one guy I know his wife make like 4 times what he make,
Mhm.
and I used to watch him. He used to be super extra, like he was real thirsty for a promotion, and I'm like, where is this coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was just, but I realized he was trying to compete or get on her level, and I
Mhm.
just simply told him like, bro, you just gotta appreciate the fact that you got a woman that's make more than you and still want you.
But
You know.
also, is it a competition or is it a we thing? And I think that goes to the type of relationship that you have and the
Mhm.
communication that you have. If they operate as a I have this and you have this, or are we operating as a we have this? So are you
Yeah.
just adding to the pot or is it a separate pot? And that just goes to every different relationship.
Well, I think that got a lot to do with upbringing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you grow up, you being told that the man is supposed to be the provider, the
Mhm.
man's supposed to be the head,
Mhm.
and then you meet a woman that's financially out your league,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Figure out, okay, how do you adjust to that part?
But you'd be surprised. That doesn't mean she doesn't want you to lead.
Yeah, facts.
Don't assume that she doesn't want you to step up and do the things
Right.
that the traditional what she grew up sawing was.
Yeah.
People assume, no, I still want that. So
Yeah.
it's I think that it truly has to be open communication between those two people. In everybody's relationship, what will work for them is going to be different. But it has to
Right.
be open communication because I think people assume what the other person wants and it's not always,
It's
the
not
truth.
always that. That's why I
Yeah.
was always about communication.
Yeah.
Another thing I think I skipped over when we talk about like the communities or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, what is your, if you don't mind sharing this, because it's relevant to the question about the even playing fields in the
Mhm.
communities. What is your highest fan? I'm not gonna say fan base. Customer like demographics.
Like income wise?
No, no, like far as race wise. What is your highest? Like who do you get which group you get the most of?
Bankruptcy is, I would say, primarily black women.
Black women.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know if that is a lot of the other, I don't look like a normal bankruptcy attorney, right? And so
Hmm.
I think that they may go and talk to other attorneys and they're not comfortable. They feel judged.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of that is they feel like they can tell me their situation and we work together to get them out of it instead of
Okay.
being like, why did you do this and why did you do that? I hear a lot of them come and say, you were so helpful and not, I didn't feel judged and things like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's your highest demographic.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I would say probably like 30 to 45. I mean, I get a little of everybody. I really
Okay.
do. But if I had to look at percentages, that's
Hmm.
probably going to be the highest.
Damn, that's something I don't know. Okay.
But I think it's also from a place of I want to do better for my kids
Gotcha.
than what I was given. And so they want to work on the credit and they want to, a lot of them, will call and wanted to buy a house.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people will say yes or no. We don't say no, we say not yet because you're not ready yet, but here's what we have to do and
To
take you
get you
back
ready.
here to get you ready.
I think I forgot to ask you about credit cards.
Hmm.
Like, do you think credit cards are a good idea for someone like that's starting over?
After bankruptcy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if you file bankruptcy and do nothing, there's nothing on your credit. So you have to show lenders that you can have credit and be responsible with it. So getting a credit card, and I tell people don't create a new bill. Get a
Okay.
credit card, and it may only be a $300 limit. That's fine. Use it to pay your cell phone bill. and
You
then
can pay your
log
cell
in.
phone bill with a credit card.
Yeah, you can pay yourself in both a credit card,
I
but
didn't know
then
that.
log into the credit card and pay the credit card off with the debit card that you were going to normally pay the cell phone bill with. So it's just kind of like shuffle it through. Don't create a new bill, but the same things you're already going to pay. You could pay Ameren, you can pay Spire. I was going to say Laclede. You can pay Spire. You can pay any of those bills with the credit card. Don't let the
Yeah.
balance sit on there because then there's going to be interest. But let this balance go up and down so they can say, okay, they used it and they paid it off. That's what's going to help rebuild your credit.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because when I got out of bankruptcy, they automatically sent me a car.
Mm-hmm.
I got into a car loan. So is
Mm-hmm.
that?
Oh yeah,
Something?
yeah, and that's another good way to rebuild. But you have
Okay.
to again, you have to do right. That's why you have to be the mindset first. Because if you
Facts.
file and then you start making those car payments late, then it's okay. He got a fresh start. Oh, but then he still did bad.
Right.
And they look at that. Was all of his delinquent and late payments before bankruptcy, or was there some after? Yeah, but a car loan, credit cards, any installment loans, so student loans, anything that's reporting to your credit will
Right.
help rebuild. And you can't do nothing because it'll take a long time. Another thing you can do is be an authorized user. So if you have a family member or friend that has a good credit score,
Mhm.
they do not have to give you a card. You do not have to have access to swipe their card, but they can add you as an authorized user and you get the benefit of their credit on your report. Doesn't have to be forever, but sometimes it increases your score enough to where you can now get your own credit card.
Oh dang.
Yeah. So there's lots
It's a
of little
lot of
things that,
little
and none of them,
loopholes.
it may make a 10 point difference, a 10 point difference, a 20 point difference. If you do all of them,
Yeah, it's
then
up.
it's a 60, 70 point difference. So, and then there's lots of services where you can pay for your rent to be reported on your credit. I mean, there's lots of
Yeah, I heard
different
about that.
things. Basically, you just have to show that you got a
Yeah.
fresh start and you know how to use credit now.
Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a little more freshened up on the credit.
Yeah.
This you said some things I ain't even know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we wrap this up, away from all the jewels you didn't drop, I just gotta ask you, who are you outside of all of this?
Don't have a whole lot of time outside of all of this. The
Okay.
properties, and I do flips and have rental properties and things too, so that takes up a lot of my time. But I'm a mom first.
Okay.
So kids are in sports and have band concerts and all that stuff.
Okay.
I love to travel. Those are the two biggest things. I think I love live music, so I'll go anywhere and listen to any the types of music I don't even normally like to listen to. If it's live, I like it. So that's kind of what I do in my off time is travel, listen to live music, and then kids, they keep you busy.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah,
how do you find time to travel with you having so much going on with the
I
properties?
prioritize it. My goal is quarterly. I go somewhere. I always
Okay.
go somewhere for my birthday. I always go somewhere in the summer. I always take the kids on a trip. And then
Okay.
even if it's, I'll go to an NBA game, I'll go to an NFL game, I'll go to a concert out of town. Even if they came here, like Chris Brown came here, I'd rather go in Vegas because it's just a different, it's just a different vibe. It's around different people.
Right. Are you went to the breezy kind of?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I was
I
supposed to go
say.
to the one in Vegas, yeah. But like those are the type of things that I will go out of town for the same thing you could see here,
Right.
just because it just gets you away. You need a reset. Because I do so much, I do need a reset.
Facts.
I'm a planner. My friends always make fun of me because they're like, "What are we doing next July?" And I'm like, "Let me look on the calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't
It
happen."
don't happen.
Yeah, so I plan it. I prioritize. But yeah, travel is big.
Yeah, you can get the picture with Breezy. Let him
Yeah.
advertise your
No,
business.
I'm good on those
Bankruptcy, you
pictures.
know what I'm saying?
I'm good
Like
on
for real.
those.
You either have him holding the sign,
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, no
We
problem.
just rebooted the show, so you the first guest on season 3. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
all the knowledge you've given. So where can the people find you? Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so the easiest way probably is on Instagram, Morgan Renee 85, and then the law firm is Teague Bankruptcy Law. I also have Morgan Teague Real Estate Instagram. And then for the rental properties, you can just reach out to me on one of those. I'm in the process of finally passing all those over to property management so I
Okay.
can have a little more free time. So that'll be the way if people are looking for rental properties and things,
Okay.
I'll be able to direct them directly
Now,
through there.
I contradicted myself. I am coming back to your office, but it's for
But not
good
for
now.
that. Not
Yeah,
for
it's for
that. Right.
good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Shout out to Street Status, Capital HP's The Bright Show. It's a wrap.